The first bell comes before the sun has properly chosen a color. It rolls over the roofs like fog, over chimney pots and crooked gables, over ridge tiles slick with last night's damp, into the narrow upper rooms where people sleep above their own work. In London, the sound is never alone. A bell here always finds another noise to walk beside it. Wood knocked into shape, a cart's iron rim complaining on stone, the cough of a neighbor through a thin wall, the restless stamp of a tethered horse in a yard too small for breathing. Even at dawn, the city does not truly fall silent. It only changes tempo. Thomas wakes with the house already moving. Downstairs, someone is stirring yesterday's fire into life. A dull orange light pulses through the cracks in the floorboards. The smell reaches him before he's properly awake. Leather soaked and scraped, with that sweet sour tang that clings to a cordwainer's home no matter how often the door is opened. Somewhere below, a pot clinks. A man clears his throat. The day is beginning whether Thomas is ready or not. He sits up, blinking, and for a moment the world is ordinary. That is the strange thing about fear in the beginning. It does not announce itself like a storm. It arrives like an idea you can't stop touching with the back of your mind. He dresses with the half speed of someone expecting a normal day. Tunic, belt, hose, a cap. His shoes are his own work, stitching tight, soles firm, and there is a small private pride in that, the kind only apprentices understand. He ties the laces and thinks briefly about nothing at all. Then he goes down into the yard with a bucket. Outside, the lane is cramped with the usual inconveniences of a city growing faster than its spaces. A gutter line, muddy and stubborn, rubbish settled in the same corners as if it has chosen them, the smell of stale ale and damp straw. A city like London is always at war with its own waste, always trying to keep itself clean enough to survive another season without tipping into sickness. But today, before Thomas has even filled the bucket, something catches him. Not a sight, a pause. His master's wife is standing near the door, hands folded over her apron, as if she has forgotten what to do with them. She looks up the lane, not staring exactly, but listening. Her mouth presses into a thin line. "The air's changed," she says. "Not the weather. Londoners know weather. They read it the way sailors read water. She means something else, the air itself, as if it can sour." Thomas has heard talk like this before, in hard winters, in years when bread prices bite, after great storms when roofs come down, and people swear the city's luck has shifted. But this feels sharper than those old stories. This feels like dread with a direction. In the workshop, the master keeps them busy. Work is safety. Work is how men convince themselves that the world still has rules. Leather must be cut, soles stitched. A customer wants repairs by noon. The journeymen argue about thread thickness. Thomas fetches, threads, holds, learns. His job is not to think, only to do. Yet the street is talking around them. You can feel it through the walls, not the words themselves, but the way sound gathers, voices stopping, then restarting, like people are choosing what they're allowed to say out loud. It begins in whispers before breakfast. A riverman's cousin is sick in Southwark. A ship has come in with death inside it. A household near the riverside has shut its doors. The rumors drift like smoke, thin, shapeless, difficult to catch. No one says, "I saw." They say, "I heard." They say, "It's true, I swear it." Rumor moves quickly in a port city, and London is a port city before it is anything else. The river feeds it. The river makes it rich. The river also opens the door to whatever the world is carrying. By mid-morning, Thomas is sent out toward the market with a bundle. He steps into the press of bodies and goods, into the familiar geography of London's commercial heart, stalls leaning into the street, shop fronts crowded with signs, lanes feeding into wider roads, the steady pulse of buying and selling that keeps the city upright. Cheapside is one of London's great arteries. It does not merely contain trade, it is trade, living and shouting and sweating on stone. Someone hawks bread, someone curses the price. A servant hurries past clutching a basket. A beggar sits near a church door where charity and commerce meet in the same breath. And then Thomas hears the word that makes the day tilt. Not shouted, not proclaimed, passed hand to mouth like a secret that burns. Pestilence. Not fever, not flux. Pestilence is heavier. It has theology in it. It feels like punishment even before anyone says the word God. A fishwife, face pinched and raw from brine, swears she heard it from her brother at the river stairs. Sailors spoke of terrible death overseas, ports where bells rang so constantly the sound became part of the wind. Another man insists it came from the south coast, arriving by ship from foreign places, spreading along roads and rivers as surely as gossip. Their details do not match, but the pattern does. It comes by routes of trade. Thomas has no map of Europe in his head. He cannot name distant towns, but he knows ships. He has watched barrels and bales lifted from boats. He has heard foreign accents at the wharves. He has smelled wine and salt fish and tar. London is fed by movement. It is also haunted by it. At a street corner, a parish clerk, ink-stained, pale, argues with a merchant about causes. The clerk speaks of God's judgment, and his voice has the familiar cadence of sermons, sin, warning, correction. The merchant counters with something he has heard from educated men, that the air itself may be corrupted, made poisonous by strange influences, that the sky, the wind, the breath you draw in might be the thing that kills you. Thomas listens without choosing a side. He cannot judge which explanation is right. He only feels what each one does to the crowd. Divine judgment demands repentance. Corrupted air demands vigilance, sweet-smelling herbs, fires, closed windows, a careful distance from strangers who might carry sickness in their breath. And the crowd changes its face with each sentence, as if London is trying on different fears to see which one fits best. By noontime, Cheapside's noise has sharpened. People speak more quickly, bargains are rushed. A man selling onions complains he has fewer customers than yesterday. Another insists fear makes people hoard. A woman snatches bread and walks too fast, as if buying food has become a confession. Thomas notices something that unsettles him more than any rumor. People are not lingering. Cheapside is a place built for lingering, hands on goods, words exchanged, time spent. But now, every second outside feels like a mistake. A man coughs, and it happens again. The crowd steps back. Not dramatically, not all at once, just enough to show that everyone noticed. A space opens around him as if his breath has weight. The coughing man looks confused, slightly offended. Then he looks scared. He pulls his cap lower and moves away. And Thomas thinks, without meaning to, what if he's already marked? He hates himself for thinking it, but once thought like that enters, it does not leave easily. He crosses toward the river, where the smell changes, less smoke, more damp wood and mud and fish. The Thames is London's highway and its marketplace, its artery and its wound.
Boats nudge the shore. A lighterman shouts. The tide drags filth as well as commerce, and the riverside is where wealth and waste live too close together. Near the stairs, a crowd has gathered around a sailor. The man is thin, eyes bright with exhaustion, talking too loudly, as if volume can push fear back into the river. A port, he says. He doesn't name it clearly. Dead in the streets, priests running from house to house, whole families. Someone interrupts, sharp and loud. In London? The sailor spits into the mud. Not yet. That not yet is worse than certainty. Certainty is a wall. Not yet is a door left open. Thomas stands very still.
People begin doing small things. They look at their hands. They rub their fingers as if feeling for invisible dirt. One man lifts a bunch of herbs to his nose and breathes in hard, desperate. A woman, older, wrapped in worn cloth, makes the sign of the cross so quickly it looks like a reflex. Thomas turns away and walks back faster than he should. Back at the workshop, the master's wife has bought extra onions and salt. The master tells the household to waste nothing, an old habit in a city where prices can bite, but now spoken like a charm, like saying it aloud might make it true. The afternoon feels tight. Work continues because it must, but every noise seems sharper. The scrape of a knife, the snap of thread, the sound of the street outside pushing forward like water behind a door. In the parish church, the benches fill earlier than usual. Not everyone comes. London is too large for a single mood to hold it, but enough arrive to make the air feel crowded with breath. Candles burn even though the sun is still high. The priest looks tired. Not the tiredness of a long day, something older, something like he has been sleeping lightly for weeks. He does not declare the end of days. He does what parish priests always do, calls for penitence, for charity, for keeping faith. He tells them to pray for the dead abroad, for the safety of the city. He does not name the sickness. He doesn't need to. Outside, someone whispers that new burial ground is being prepared beyond the packed parish yards, near Smithfield or further east. She says it like a secret, then crosses herself again and walks away quickly, as if the words themselves might cling to her. Thomas hears it and feels his stomach go cold. Burial ground. Extra ground. Not for one death, for many. But today, in this late summer light, it is not yet a place of trenches and hurried prayers. It is only a rumor. And yet it sits heavy in the mind, because a city does not prepare ground for the dead unless it expects the dead. In the early evening, Thomas is sent once more into the street. Errands, a candle, thread, perhaps a scrap of meat if the price is kind. He passes a door marked with chalk. Someone's sign, perhaps, or perhaps nothing at all. But it catches his attention like a bruise. He notices how often people touch their faces, then stop mid-motion, as if remembering they shouldn't. He sees two men arguing. One says those who can should flee to the country. The other says flight is cowardice, and God sees it. They sound angry, but anger is only fear with nowhere else to go. Thomas knows, even if he cannot say it, that most people cannot flee. Work binds them, rent binds them, family binds them. The city walls do not keep out fear. They trap it inside, multiplying it in every alley. By night, the household eats in a tighter circle than usual. Someone jokes thinly about bad smells and worse luck. Laughter comes, then collapses as if embarrassed. The master speaks of keeping the doors shut after dark. The journeymen mutter about wages and winter. Thomas eats without tasting much. When he lies down, London settles around him the way it always does. A cart passes somewhere distant. A dog barks. A church bell counts the hour. The city feels unchanged. And yet the day has shifted its meaning. London is still London, the same smoke, the same markets, the same river stink, the same cramped press of life. But now, when Thomas closes his eyes, he imagines the air itself as something that can turn, quietly, invisibly, until even breathing becomes an act of courage.